The day Akini lost her husband. People told her, be strong. What they didn't tell her was that the real battle would begin after the burial. Akini wasn't rich, but she was content. She and her husband had built their life slowly, not perfectly, but honestly. They had a small home, a growing business, and peace. Otieno was not a loud man, but he was kind. The kind who made sure there was food on the table, who checked on her during the day, who prayed before they slept. And Akini, she trusted him completely. It happened suddenly, too suddenly. One moment he was there, and the next, he was gone. The house changed overnight. Silence became heavy. Everything reminded her of him. Even breathing felt different. At first, people came. Church members, friends, neighbors. They brought food, prayers, and presents. And his family, they were there too. At least, in the beginning. After the burial, everything changed. It started small, simple questions that didn't feel so simple. Where are the documents? Who has access to the account? What plans did he leave behind? At first, Akini didn't think much of it. She told herself it was normal. But slowly, something didn't feel right. A few days later, they called her. A family meeting. She sat quietly, still grieving, still trying to understand everything. Then his older brother spoke. We need to organize things properly. Akini nodded. That made sense. Then he continued. This house, this land, everything belongs to the family. Akini blinked, confused. I don't understand, she said softly. Another voice responded. You were his wife, not his blood. After that day, things didn't explode. They shifted. Slowly, quietly, dangerously. Passwords stopped working. Calls went unanswered. Decisions were made without her. And then, the whispers began. Not loudly, but enough. Maybe she doesn't deserve it. After all, what did she really contribute? Akini heard some of it, but the worst part, she felt the rest. One evening, she sat alone in the house. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt like hers anymore. And for the first time, fear settled in. Not just grief, not just pain. Fear. A week later, the conversation came again. But this time, it wasn't a discussion. It was a decision. You need to start making arrangements. Akini looked up slowly. Arrangements for what? For you to move. The final notice came quietly. You have 2 weeks. That was it. 2 weeks to leave her home, leave her life, and start again with nothing. That night, she broke. Not quietly, not gracefully, but completely. That night, she finally broke. God, I asked you not to leave me. Where are you? The next morning, nothing had changed. The house was still not hers. The pressure was still there, and the silence felt even louder. She tried to stay strong, tried to believe something would shift, but every day felt heavier than the last. Another conversation came, this time even colder than before. You need to be ready by the end of the week. That night, she didn't have words anymore, just tears and a quiet surrender. God, I don't understand, but I trust you. 3 days later, something small happened. Not dramatic, not obvious. She received a call from a woman in church she barely spoke to. Akini, I don't know why, but I felt I should check on you. Akini almost said she was fine. Almost. But something in her let the truth come out. And for the first time, someone listened. Not to respond, not to advise, just to listen. That one conversation led to another. Then another person heard. Then someone asked questions. And slowly, something shifted. Not suddenly, not magically, but steadily. That one call didn't fix everything, but it didn't stay there. The woman she spoke to told someone else. And within days, a church elder reached out. A meeting was called, not by the family, but by someone they couldn't easily ignore. The elder came with a legal advisor, and this time, things were different. Documents were reviewed, questions were asked, and for the first time, the truth was laid out clearly. What belongs to her cannot be taken from her. The same voices that once pressured her grew quieter, not out of kindness, but because they had no ground left. Something had shifted, and it could not be undone. In the end, it wasn't just about what she lost or what she got back. Something in her had changed. The fear that once filled the room no longer had a place to stay. Looking back, she began to see it, not in one big moment, but in quiet ones. The call that came at the right time. The people who chose not to stay silent. The strength she didn't know she had. God hadn't shouted. He hadn't forced anything, but he had moved, quietly, faithfully. A father to the fatherless, a defender of widows, is God in his holy dwelling. Psalm 68:5. They tried to leave her with nothing, but they forgot. She was never alone.